So I'd like to start off with a question. Is having a strong, ethical, community-oriented culture more important than a potential business growth going to automation? We see the grocery industry going towards a more robotic way of life. Do we keep those values that we hold so dear to our heart at MarketBasket? Or do we kind of jump on that bandwagon and do what's easier and go for robotic ways of doing business? So we saw amazing growth from a small mom and pop shop in 1917 in Lowell, Massachusetts. The store was sold to the two Moeller sons, George and Mike, who basically modernized the way that the business was going to move forward. But that came with a family feud that trickled down to Arthur T. and Arthur S., who are their sons. And these two cousins had two completely different ways of management styles and running the business. To start, Arthur T. was a rare leader who put people over his profits. He showed that a little bit of caring really does go a long way. And he had a reputation of treating his employees like family. He knew almost all of their names. He always asked about their lives. He even went as far as going to the hospital for one of his employees that had cancer and showing that he was there for them and that he cared. He also continued his father's tradition of more for your dollar. So he wanted to give his customers low prices to the best of his ability and make them feel welcome and that we were all part of a community. On the other hand, Arthur S. Is painted in the color of greed. He's a very business-oriented man, and he just cared about the shareholders. And most, if not all, employees really distrusted him. They didn't feel the same trust that they did with his cousin. But how it played out was Arthur S. convinced the board to fire his cousin. And this is when the movement happened, something truly amazing. So thousands of voices, over 25,000 employees, vendors, and customers all came together to try to get their CEO back. So they did this through online petitions. They created a Facebook group saying, "Together we are MarketBasket," to try to make it as public as possible. They wanted it on national news. They did rallies for 3 months. They all came together. They actually did make the news just to bring back something that they felt the respect, they felt the responsibility. They felt very loyal to Arthur T. And they didn't want anything to change. He didn't just inspire the culture, he inspired people to want to work. The customers felt the same passion. They went as far as going to other grocery stores, purchasing a long ticket of grocery items, taking that receipt and posting it on the walls of MarketBasket to show we're not going to stand down. No one's going to shop here unless we have the leader that made us feel valued, made us feel all these strong feelings. And Arthur T. really did create an amazing work environment that's still evident today.
So to really pinpoint the ethical dilemma and to define it in just one sentence, it really was greed and the financial gain motives of Arthur S. versus the transformational leadership and the community-oriented leadership of Arthur T. Employees, workers, customers all fought to protect the values and the business model that RDT created that had already withstood 100 years of business operations. So as the protests continued, shelves emptied, warehouses froze, the boycott intensified, and MarketBasket began to make national headlines all over the country. All because the stakeholders wanted an ethical culture with a personal connection that they came to know and love MarketBasket for. So the bottom line here is that this ethical dilemma showed how a change in top leadership can spoil a brand and completely change a company's culture overnight. Once Arthur T. was fired, the following day the protests happened. Vendors were pulling out, customers were boycotting, employees were not showing up for their shifts, and drones of hundreds of employees just not showing up to work. The culture of this company, including the loyalty of its employees, is what built MarketBasket into a strong organization in the first place. And a lot of this stems from the connection some of these bottom level employees feel with the top leadership. And that's really remarkable. There's not many companies where you see someone like a bagger or a cashier that really has this kind of level of connection with the CEO of a company. And that is remarkable. So the solutions we are proposing is that MarketBasket needs to stick to its strengths, stick to what you know. You're known for a team culture and where every one of your employees feels included and valued, and that needs to be shown more. That should be included more in the trainings. That should be more of an expectation on the management level that they are making sure that this team environment is being fostered in all of its operating locations. Another key value that comes right from the CEO of R3T is that smaller acts count. Getting to know your employees in all your locations really does matter, and it makes them inspired to want to work harder for the organization. And also knowing what's going on in their personal lives, knowing if they're struggling with a health condition, knowing if they have a relative that has something going on in their personal life, knowing if they're trying to save for their kids to go to college, knowing if they want to better themselves out in any other area of personal growth, and trying to find where MarketBasket can line up with that and help that person grow into where they want to see themselves. So in order to do this, the management team should be having often forward-looking conversations on development goals in ways that these employees can help better the store and themselves. Additionally, customers are very important, and your customers are so incredibly loyal that they were willing to protest for hours at a time to try to get a CEO that they love back in the company that they grew to love. And that's really remarkable. So what we recommend is that you stick to the fair prices matter. Keep that more for your dollar motto, as that is what's really built your brand and has made customers so passionate to shop in your stores. But also one thing that MarketBasket has done and that really intensified during the boycott was that local vendors, local fisheries, local farmers were having all their products in MarketBasket stores. And we think you should highlight that. We think you should advertise that and let your customers be aware that by shopping at MarketBasket, you are providing jobs for your local community. And that's really the heart of it all, and that should be really focused more going forward in your strategies. Also, giving back to the community, doing community sponsorships, going and trying to see if you can get involved, and by having your team encourage employees to want to get involved, to volunteer, to help your community in various ways. So to go back to that initial question that we proposed, is having a strong, ethical, community-oriented culture more important than potential business growth added through automation? In the case of MarketBasket, we would say yes, it is, as this very approach has created an organization that has been around for over 100 years. It has created an organization that even after a massive boycott where the company lost billions of dollars, the 3 years after it, profits came. Customers came back. After massive protests, all of those customers came back. And that is so incredibly remarkable, especially in this time where we're seeing most of the competitors going towards automation, going towards taking that personal connection out. We can't say that all of the market is looking for this, but there's definitely a place for MarketBasket in this market, and your customers definitely value that personal connection that they've come to know and love.
Thank you very much.